You are one of the cool kids. Hey, everybody, I'm going to talk really softly now. It's the end of the day, and, oh, hey, nice to see you. Hey, everybody. Okay, we're back. I reserve the last 10, 15 minutes of the day to pull upon somebody who has been actually had the privilege of walking the show floor. I spend most of my time here in the booth. Well, let's be honest, all of my time here in the booth. So I only hear about the really cool stuff that's going on out there. And so today, David Johnson was walked the show floor, of course, for his own reasons, but also for the reason of coming here, and in an unbiased, just I was walking on the show floor opinion. Tell the people at home some of the cool stuff that he saw. First, why don't you explain why you're sitting in front of a TSA logo and what you do, and then your connection to print, and we'll start from there.
Sure. So I'm David Johnston. I work for the TSA as a social media strategist. Before I went to work for TSA, though, I spent about, better part of 2 decades doing print. Grew up in working in a print shop. Still do print. Hello. Still do print. And so I come here every year, see all the new technology, learn what there is to learn, and it's a great event. I've been coming to print for about a dozen years now. So it's really a great opportunity.
Longer than me.
I know, it's shocking.
Wow. So, what did you learn out there on the show floor today?
So, first of all, you talk about the fact that you get stuck here, but you have a great strategy because you bring all the really smart people and the real interesting people to you, and you never have to wander the show floor.
No,
so
they all end up here.
The rest of us have to walk it, but you just say, all of you interesting people that have interesting stories to tell, come sit down and talk to me. So I think your strategy is pretty good. I think one of the interesting things that I've observed this year is the fact that if you were just to walk the floor and listen to people talking, and you heard terms like gig economy, disruptive technologies, augmented reality, you really would think you were at a San Francisco startup, company convention, not at print.
Right.
So it's really been interesting to observe how much of that discussion and how much of those thought processes have really kind of become a part of the show. And so many people are showing off technologies that they're really trying to put in the context of how that makes businesses more viable in this new age, in this new economy. So I've really seen a lot of people that have been really focused on how to take existing technologies, apply them in this new gig economy, and as well as some of the really cool technologies. Frank Romano was mentioning yesterday about the augmented reality piece. I had to go literally
at RMGT.
Yes, yes. I had to go search the show floor and see them.
Was it good? Was it cool?
Spooky, kind of good.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. If you haven't made it over there, go check them out.
Did you see the virtual press they have over there?
I did. And
how was that?
It's really cool. There was such a long line, I didn't get a chance to actually try it out myself.
Oh.
But watching it just on screen and hearing what people were saying about it, yeah, it's a sci-fi time we're living in right now.
If you were back wearing your printer hat, walking around the show, what are some of the technologies you think you would be investing in now?
I think that everybody's brought their A game to print this year. I think what we're really seeing is the fact that everything continues to get faster and to offer more bells and whistles. The big guys, the Konicas, the Canons, the HPs, the presses that they have right now, the extra features that 10 years ago, 20 years ago would have seemed impossible. it's amazing to see what they can do as far as printing on unusual substrates, as far as adding special finishes and special coatings to things. It really is amazing, and I think that as much as we've kind of seen this doom and gloom message about print suffering from the use of digital technologies and the use of the rise of the internet and the rise of the machines, I think the fact that when you look at these machines and you look at this equipment now, it reminds me of when I was in print many years ago, and people would buy a Heidelberg press and it would last them for 40 years. You're seeing these new presses and what they can do, and it's just amazing. It's amazing to think that one of these vendors won't be selling you a piece of equipment that you're not going to be using for the next 2-3 decades.
Have you seen any interesting substrates or medias? Are there a lot of paper companies out there?
There's a good sampling. It seems to be that this year is really, I've seen something that's interesting, and it's more fabric and more vendors that are doing
soft signage,
soft signage, clothing items,
direct to fabric,
absolutely. It seems like almost every other booth has had a display of printing on fabric, so I found that to be an interesting shift versus previous years, where there were so many people that were showing the latest and greatest paper, to now the thought process seems to be, let us show you a more full gamut of what you can be printing on.
Was there anything you just stumbled upon that you were like, oh my God, where has this been all my life?
Gosh, was there one thing? I always sit back and I marvel, and it seems like every year, the laser cutting technology gets better and better.
Cool.
And I sit there and just think, man, I wish I had a project right now I could, send to one of these companies and use this fancy laser cutting, because the machines and the ability to do such complicated and intricate and finely detailed and close register cutting seems to really, really just those guys are at the top of their game.
Last question. What was the overall, you were just walking around, you heard people talking. What was the overall attitude everybody had about the show? Good, bad, or indifferent? Tell the truth.
Honestly, I think that what I heard from everyone, or what I picked up from people, was that they were really engaged. A lot of people observed how the show was a little bit smaller this year than it had been in the past. But everything that was here, it was almost as if you took the best of the best and really brought it together in a more condensed location. So people that were walking seemed to be commenting that they were spending more time actually being able to go into booths, because there was so much more that they wanted to see and they wanted to engage with. So it wasn't like you would walk past one booth and maybe in 5 you would talk to one company that was here. It seemed like people really wanted to talk to everybody and really go into every booth, see every technology. And I think that that's, in a way, it may be a smaller show by the numbers, but I think the amount of time people are going to spend here and the amount of technologies and the amount of vendors, it works out in that way.
I think that's indicative of evolution,
Yes.
Survival of the fittest. The reason why it's there are people spending more time in these booths is because those technologies are actually matter.
Yes.
It would be a good, I wish I had a heat map of this whole place, and you could probably say, okay, here are 5 things that aren't going to be around anymore.
Yes.
Because why? Either it's so good that nobody needs it, and that causes a manufacturing problem. You don't have to keep buying them.
Right.
Or it's so antiquated that nobody cares about it. So that would be very interesting. We need to wrap it up because the show's going to close, but I just want to thank you so much for your time and your friendship, and
Thank you for having me.
for helping me with my TSA issues. I'm just saying, sometimes I have issues with the airport. And I want to thank everybody at home who's been watching our broadcasts. I've been getting some texts and emails, and thanks to Inkish TV and Jovan, our sound guy from Freeman, from Freeman. We have an awesome crew in the booth, the Lady Scanalot and crew. Everybody, thank you so much for an awesome day to Toby, Klausy, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow for Girls Who Print Day. Thank you.